to get on. Y'all know I do faceless videos um, most times in early morning. I decided to turn this channel, this specific channel, into more of a social channel. Okay, I'm gonna start a separate channel. This for guidance. I'm gonna keep that channel separate from this one. But I was just thinking as I was doing my hair this morning. I was thinking about why the 90s was the last great time for everyone and minorities. Now, something that I realized that a lot of people, even in the Generation X, my generation, don't even realize because we were just living it. And the people of the generation today don't even realize is that we was forced in, we were kind of naturally forced in to tremendous self-love. It was just a natural thing that was occurring, okay? And it was because a lot of us we liked celebrities, we liked the music and all, but we wasn't chasing it. See, a lot of the people in the 90s was just like, I'm cool with just surviving. I'm cool with just having all my needs met. There wasn't no need there wasn't no need to be rich in a year. There was no do better than last time. It was do what works. Okay? And we really didn't care if someone said we had self-hate because we had relaxers in or straightened our hair. We was really in control of our own minds when it came to self-care. We did not care about we did not care about whether someone told us we had to have a car. If we knew people with cars, we didn't care because all that mattered was that we could get around. We can get an Uber, we can get a jitney, we can get a bus pass. It's not that we was in gratitude because we weren't even using the word gratitude. We just took advantage of our options. And that's the thing. Everyone was like, this is the only option that you have, or else you ain't keeping up. I see people standing at bus stops and they got depressing energy, and it's like we never had that energy when we were at bus stops. We never had that energy. We never looked uncomfortable. And people in cars never stared so hard like we was falling behind because we was at bus stops. It was very normal to do what you can to have a decent life. People were happy with a decent life. Now it's like you got to do way above decent just to get a little bit of respect out here. And it's just wild that it's like that. In the 90s, we didn't have the option to run from our problems. We didn't have infinite amount of social groups to run to when we had a problem. We couldn't run. We basically couldn't run from any obstacle. So it like this. Like back in them days, it was like you had to work to pay rent. You couldn't just live with somebody free. Nowadays, people are so afraid to be alone that they will let anybody live with them for free. Anybody be lazy. They will let anyone live with them who's not pulling their weight because they're so afraid to be alone. Back in the 90s, we were traveling alone. I remember traveling all the way an hour, an hour from my home just to see a friend, all by myself. I can remember um, going to different parts of my state to see different people all by myself. I can remember going shopping by myself or just going with one friend. Now it's like one friend is not enough now. People need everybody to be their friend online. People need as many social connections as possible online. We did not care about that. We took care of each other in the 90s. People can say whatever they want and act like Generation X. think that their booty don't stink, but we took care of each other. When people hate on Mary J. Blige and say she need to sit her old butt down, Mary J. Blige is rich. She can stop. She can stop. She has plenty of money. She can stop. But she is doing it because she loved to do it. And that was the difference between the 90s and today. People are like, I'm going to keep doing this because I want to get rich and richer and richer and richer, and I want to never stop getting rich. Back in the 90s, we did things because we actually enjoyed it. It wasn't because we knew we could get some fast money. And we enjoyed what brought us money. We did not complain. If it put food on the table, we found a way to enjoy it. I can remember me and my friends working our first job, and we were working as office cleaners. Me, my sister, and two other people. And I don't remember us complaining, even though we were only making like $4.75, and we still had, we still had to pitch in half of our check on the bills in the house. We weren't complaining because we were smart with getting our money to work for us. We were smart in using the free resources. We had no shame. We had no shame in going to the beauty salon school. Now it's like you can't even say that you go to the beauty salon school, or people will be like, "Ah, you broke." But back in the 90s, it was like, we're all going to the beauty salon school together. Come on, everybody, get our hair and feet done. It's wow that nowadays the standards of how you get your self-care and money, the standards are extremely too high, meaning the judgment of it is extremely too high. All this nitpicking of perfectionism and over criticizing is ridiculous. I remember us wearing finger waves for a week straight, and nobody said nothing negative. Nobody hated. If we had the same finger waves done over and over and over and over again, nobody said, "Oh, that's all you can afford." Nobody felt like they didn't want to talk to you because you can't switch up things a lot. I can remember wearing my hair straight with no curls in it for 5 years straight. 5 years straight, just literally wrapping it and combing it down and going out the door. And I remember guys jumping out of cars to talk to me, being able to make plenty of friends. And I never changed my hairdo. But nowadays, it's like you got to go extra and extra and extra and extra and extra. And it's causing people to feel very fatigued and tired and sick of society. And it's just, you can't even drive a used car in the minority communities. Otherwise, you're not even worth anyone's attention. Your car has to look like it has never been used, or you can't even make a friend. It's gotten exactly. Those was the last true gratitude time. People act like they know gratitude today. No, the 90s teens and adults knew gratitude. If we was able to afford $10 finger waves, we was the happiest people on earth. You would thought we went and got our hair done the same place as Beyonce got her hair done. That's how happy we was. But nowadays, it's like nothing is ever enough. It's like never enough now. And I'm seeing it. I'm picking it up. I'm picking it up. I'm picking it up in the energy. When I go into gas stations, it's like it's like people are looking for people who have the ultimate to the 10th degree glow up just to say good morning. You didn't have to look good for someone to say good morning to you. Back in the 90s, you could have had rollers in your hair, sitting on your porch, still in your jammies, and someone would say, "Good morning." But now today, it's like you gotta prove to me to the 10th degree that you're worthy of just a hello. This narcissism of self-sensationalism today is toxic. Yeah. Look, if you went to school and your shoes was clean and you was clean, you can make a friend. It was not about whether you was able to afford Michael Jordan hot dog shoes. I call them hot dog shoes, boats. It wasn't even about that. I remember a girl came to school and she had on some $50 Nikes. Okay, they was like the first line of Nikes. They wasn't even the latest Nikes. Okay, the latest Nikes back in them days still cost buku money. Okay, Nike always cost buku money. I was always a Nike wearer, so I know. But I would never get the latest Nike. I was always get the Nikes that was like 3 years old or whatever, because they weren't turning into classics yet, so they were still at a discount. We would go to something called Champs. I don't know if y'all remember the store Champs and Ace Athletic. Ace Athletic, we would go there and we would get the shoes that was on sale like 50% off of a certain, even if we got a designer brand. But I remember this girl came with $50 Nikes on that was like the old the basic new, the basic Nikes 3 years old. And everybody was like, "Oh, them is nice." And it just I just never remember that. I never forget that moment because I knew those Nikes because I was a Nike girl. I knew those Nikes was a couple years old, okay, when they came out. They just had the basic Nike sign on it. Y'all remember the basic Nike sign, black Nike with a white Nike on it, or white Nike shoe with a black Nike. But I remember everybody was like, "Oh, those is nice." And I knew they was only like $49.99. I knew they were. But I didn't hate on her or nothing. I was like, yeah, those are nice. It was for the fact that she had on a new pair of sneakers that was designer. No one cared if they was the latest or if they was bought at retail price. No one cared if they was a rollback price sneaker. No, there was no out of season shoes, so we can't compliment your shoe. That is ridiculous. Okay. I don't know what 90s you talking about. What's somebody talking about here? People only befriended you for what you have. Nah, not in the 90s. Nah, not in the 90s. No. Nah, I don't know where you lived at. You must have lived in Beverly Hills or something. Cause where I'm from, you could have been in the projects and got a lot of friends. You could have been in the projects and had nothing to give, and got a lot of friends. I don't know what 90s you was in, because I had dirt poor friends, and we were all friends. I had friends that was richer than me, that had more money than me, that was living in 2, 3 bedroom homes while I was living in an apartment, and we was all friends. The 90s was about character and personality. People would be your friend if you had a fun personality. You didn't have to have anything that they want. Nowadays, it's about what other people got. This is a very opportunist society nowadays. I'm tired of people thinking they know the 90s by looking at these videos. Okay, if you were a little kid in the 90s, you don't know the 90s. I was actually 18 years old in the 90s. So if you're Generation X, not the little kids, not the ones born in the 80s. If you were born in the 80s, you shouldn't be speaking on the 90s. You're a little kid. I was 18 years old in the 90s, so I remember exactly how it was. Okay? And we was about fun and good times and at least living decent. Period. No. We're going to delete that comment because I'm tired of people saying stuff that's not true about the 90s. No. It wasn't nobody, though, wasn't nobody that opportunist then. It was no. People was friends with people that had money, that didn't have money, whatever. I can remember living across the street from people who had big beautiful homes, and we lived in an apartment home. And the people that lived in the big important homes, they was generous and they was kind to us. I pushed the wrong button on here. What the hell did I do? The wrong button. I don't know what I did. I did something here. Just like now, it's like people act like people are so hooked on the internet that people act like everybody need to be seen on the internet. I notice on the internet in the social groups that people can't see you, they don't want to talk to you. Even though you can't see them. It's like back in the day we were cool with having phone conversations. Sometimes we'd be on the phone for like 4 hours. Now it's like people want more and more and more. They want to talk to you. They want to check your Facebook. They want to have access to your life without asking you about it. They want to stare at you in photos while they're talking to you. All type of weird behavior. I find this generation and time period to be very creepy. Personally, I find it to be creepy. People are comfortably creepy. They don't even have no shame with their creepiness nowadays. People can't even talk to each other like they talk on the phone. They want to FaceTime you. They gotta see you. It's the ridiculous because you know why? Because people are competing. People are keeping track of each other's aging, hair growth. It's ridiculous. All the unnecessary stuff people are thinking about. It's wow. I noticed that there's been times I got on video and people could speak on whether they thought I was tired or whatever. It's like, even if I was tired, even if I did look tired, why does that have to be the conversation when we're talking about something else? I find that we're living in a society where everyone's trying to be the parents of random strangers. The parents, the doctor of random strangers. To me, that's narcissistic. That to me, it's like you're saying that you got it all together, so you qualified to just run around online critiquing everybody. Somebody put a post on Quora talking about that. I said, why is society becoming a place where everyone's giving unsolicited advice? You can't even be in a relationship. You can't even have a friend because the friend today will give you unsolicited advice. Will assume that you don't know something, and especially if you're a certain uh race and gender, it's like, oh, you definitely don't know. Then I got to give you some unsolicited advice. I can't begin to tell you how many times I've had random dudes just bust out giving me unsolicited advice out in these streets. It's like, to me, I don't think the access to too much um resources is healthy for people's ego. People are taking that privilege of access to resources online, and it's making them get into some narcissistic energy where they can just appoint themselves as the savior of random people. This is what happens when a society no longer values artistic expression. People aren't getting nourished and pet fed egotistically with their ego through art anymore. They're not even trying to get their serotonin and healthy hormones and dopamine from their art, from their artistic gifts. A lot of people are like, oh, I could always go out here and just give random solicited advice, you know. And it's like, if you don't accept it today, then you have failed. You are the narcissist. It's just crazy now. But in the 90s, it was like when we gave advice, it was to someone who was our friend. Okay? Somebody that we was cool with. Real cool with. Nowadays, um It's anybody will give you advice. They don't even gotta know you. And then nowadays people expect you to help them for pennies and for free. You know, back in the 90s, people would say, "I'll pay you. I'll pay you to cut my grass. I'll pay you to do my hair, or I'll cook you a meal if you." It was a fair exchange, ain't no robbery. If I went to get my hair done with my friend, I would buy the liquor, or I would buy the chicken wings. I would order a dozen of chicken wings and some fries. I would pay that, and she would do my hair. But nowadays it's like, no, everybody's supposed to have just automatically free generosity. It's just like, wow, that's what's going on. It's like we're living in a society now where people think that their misery is worse than other people, that they're suffering more than other people. So people need to be a little bit more generous and loving and kind to them. Look at how all the different groups are fighting for special privileges, fighting for special compassion, for their moment of compassion times. Like, this is my year. This is my year of everybody get my group compassion. This desire to feel more special than someone else, rather than just special, just rather than just special. It's like, wow. I mean, people will see a new trend, a new dance trend, and instead of like celebrating the person that came out with the trend, they'll go ahead and see how they can make the trend better and get more attention that they got. It's like, wow. Like the cowboy dance trend step. I didn't even know that a young black woman invented that, because it's like nobody is giving her any credit up on TikTok. They just redoing her dance step and all of that. And then when somebody finally exposed that it was a young black woman that invented that step and posted the video, people were like, "Oh, the original version ain't even as good as how everybody else redid it, or whatever, or how other people like to do it." And I said, "See what I'm talking about? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about today. All this, like, to nowadays is like, find what somebody did and do it better. It's like, Dad, can we just take a moment to celebrate the creator? Why we gotta rush to do it better every time? Why can't we just celebrate them? I don't remember everybody dancing like Michael Jackson in the street. But now it's like we got 1,000 Michael Jacksons now, dressing up like him, trying to get into his frequency. It's crazy. It started in the early 2000s with Chris Brown, Michael Jackson in it up, Usher, Michael Jackson in it up, and everybody that's fanning on Michael Jackson in it up. Back when I was young, you just was like, ooh, ah, to Michael Jackson. Wasn't nobody really concerned about immediately imitating his energy. And it's just wild today. I made up my mind about something. If I don't care how long I've known family and friends, I made up my mind. This is a new decision in my life. If a person don't care about my essential needs, about my self-care, I don't want to know them. Because if they complain to me about their self-care struggles, I'm gonna go in to help. I'm gonna offer some help. But I notice today, families, families, they're not rushing in to offer self-care help unless it's their kids, or their kids are little kids, or it's their man. And I'm like, wow, that's deep. It's like cousins and aging mamas and daddies don't even matter. The new thing is with the kids is I ain't gotta look out for my mom. It's optional. But the mom and dad gotta look out for me no matter how old I get. That's the new trending thing with the millennium generation. I don't have to look out for my mom. I didn't ask to be born. I don't have to look out for my dad. I didn't ask to be born. I don't got to come through and help them with their essential needs. I didn't ask to be born. But they better come through with every problem I have. I didn't ask to be born. And I love to say this to the millennium generation. I didn't get to pick my child. Now, when you say you didn't ask to be born, know that no adult got to pick their child. And that might sound hurtful to hear them say that, but that's just the truth. I wasn't put in a child warehouse and picked a child. But if I say that, I would be narcissistic. But it's not narcissistic to say I didn't ask to be born. Y'all, I'm telling you no lie. It's just amazing to me. Even nowadays, when somebody does somebody wrong, there ain't no apology. It's just, oh, when you do somebody wrong, just be nicer to them. What about the apology, though? We would say, I'm sorry or whatever, I apologize or whatever. Nowadays, it's like, you don't got to apologize, just be nice next time. It's crazy. And all this society telling other people today now, everyone's telling you was mandatory. I watch a video every day to protect me from that energy. It's a video that talks about how society is making giving you things that's mandatory, and like, oh, you have to go exercise. Why am I not allowed to be my age? Why am I not allowed? Why do I have to try to look young? Why can't I have a year where I'm a little chubby? Like, it's just some weird real stuff. Like, why do I have to always make my days special and count? Why can't I just have a day where it's like I'm just going doing I'm just turning up, having a good time. I don't really care about grinding or anything. Why can't I even say that out loud without people looking at me like I'm crazy? Why can't I tell people I don't want to talk about making money? I don't care about that right now. I want to have some fun. Why can't I do that without people like, oh, she done lost her mind. She know how rough this economy is, and she sitting up there saying that. Like, why do I have to hear that? Y'all, you say you going on a hike nowadays, it's no big deal. You gotta say, you gotta say that you're able to afford to go to Paris. You have to go. That's what it's considered to go big, be big nowadays. Back in the '90s, it was I'm going dancing. Oh, what club you going to? I'm going on a hiking retreat. What hiking retreat you going to? But now it's like, ain't no big deal. What country are you going to? Do you got a passport? And it's like, why do I have to have a passport and want to go to different countries to be like I'm doing big? Y'all, this is crazy. Why do I have to have so much time out of my day in which it's for grinding? Oh, it's crazy. why do I have to listen to people say you can't afford to retire? How do you know I want to be a rich retired person? When I started going with the millennium the millennium life choices, I started getting fat. I started being bitter. I started being negative about society all the time. I started being in the house a lot more. I remember I even started playing video games a lot. Like a lot of video games with the millenniums. And I'm like, no. We had our limits with the video games. We had scheduled sessions of video games. It wasn't like we could always run to the video games. It wasn't that's the type of situation. It's just wow now. You say you going to the museum on discount night. No, it's not a big deal. People don't even have the attention span to observe things at the museum and talk about it. They don't even have it anymore. Last time I went to the museum, people were taking one little glance and one quick glance and moving on. They didn't know how to slow down and actually enjoy what they were seeing. They were just rushing through the exhibits. I think if I recall, they canceled the tours at the museum here. They don't hardly do the tours because people can't pay attention. They're worried about their cell phones. Oh, it's crazy. We used to go to the museum and be so excited about learning about the dinosaurs. Just sitting there, just standing there at full attention, listening to the tour guide. Now people got to be talking. They got to be checking on phones. They got to be looking at everybody and comparing. They got to be shopping for somebody to take home. It's just like wow. When I went to the science center and I went to do the little news thingy and act like I was the news reporter gang, like nobody wanted to interact with me. And then this guy that was about my age, he was a Generation X dude. He walked up and he said, I'm going to be the audience. I'm going to be the person watching the news. Let me see you do it. And I said, and I got real excited and it felt like I was back in the 90s. And I said, see, this is what's missing. Just walking up to a random person and seeing whatever fun activity and saying, "Hey, can I join in or whatever?" or supporting them in the fun. Nowadays, it's like, I gotta walk by. I want to see what you're doing, but I'm gonna go ahead and walk by. Y'all, it's wild. Back in the 90s, guys talked to girls to talk to girls. It wasn't always because they looked good. They was fine. The guys sometimes just was kicking it. That's what we call kicking it. We just sitting there and kicking it, talking and laughing and stuff. Now the new type of kicking it is hating on society, talking bad about politics, bragging. That's the new kicking it. Dry bragging. The kicking it in the 90s was, let me show you that I can sing. Or let me read this poem to you. Or let me talk about let me talk about the new song that came out. Did you hear Tupac's new song? That's kicking it. That was kicking it in the 90s. Nowadays is we're gonna kick it and we're gonna talk about Kamala versus Trump. That's what we're gonna talk about. And it's like, woo, child. uh, I'm gonna put on some 90s music. Just kick it. I had to sing it into the into the remote. Okay, we'll take a little break and sing it. Mm. I decided to stick with the music of my time period, cause this stuff today, hey, is this the karaoke version? I don't think they got the lyrics on here. Wait a minute, that's not even it. Okay, that's the one I put on, but it skipped. Let's start it again, y'all. Shoot, I'm chilling more, y'all. I can't force this. I can't force anything out this world. We did it on rewind, y'all. I got rewinded. Some of y'all may not know what rewind is. Every man wants a woman where him and her can just go hang. Just the two of them alone, doing their own thing. And every man wants a woman. And I'm the kind of girl I tell them to. I could have sang it in a higher key. Cook 'em up a good meal. A woman he can treat his homies. Just chill. And every man wants a woman that ain't good for just laying on her back. My man hit the sign, got tell him to kick off his shoes. Just kick it. Just kick it. Hurry on down to the escape, just kick it. Back then we sang just to sing. It wasn't singing because we was trying to prove we could sing. It wasn't singing because we wanted to show we had talent. Oh, thank you. I was singing it in a lower key. Mm. The real. This is for the real. Yay! That note is so high. I'm an alto contralto, y'all. Let's see if we got another version. This is what we were doing when we were doing our hair. Music got us through hard work. Nowadays, the internet, surfing, arguing, gossiping. Okay. I saw something yesterday that said healing is I saw something yesterday that said music is medicine. I think people need more music that is in alignment with their own time period, like when they grew up. Escape, karaoke, YouTube. That's what I'm doing. Who said that? Antonella, right? I'm That's what I'm doing right now. I'm busting out my hair. I'm doing my hair and listening to choosing music. Okay, understanding karaoke YouTube. Sometimes we gotta stop talking, y'all. And we need to just learn how to kick it and vibe with each other and have a good time. Self care is still supposed to be fun. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't feel like slavery and work. And I find that when we're dealing too much toxic situations, social toxic interactions and distractions online, when we go to do self care, it feels like work. So I try now. I decided that I'm gonna do a lot of my talking at lunchtime. If it ain't lunchtime or it's not after the party, after the club, I ain't doing all that talking. Okay, y'all. For the ladies who are busting their hair out, I like my hair fresh, y'all. Hear what I say. What I need from you is understanding. So simple as one, two, three. Understanding is what we need. You don't even know me. You just wanna do what you wanna do. That's not the way it should be. No, you should listen to me, boy. I try so very hard to make you understand, but the choices you make, baby, they're ultimate. Oh, I try so very hard to keep our love alive, but you don't want to meet me halfway, then the understanding dies. Can work it out, we don't pull it together. I don't mean to be demanding, I want some understanding. I wanna be with you. What I need from you, how can we communicate if you don't hear what I say? What I need from you. Y'all, I'm in here kicking it. Understanding is what we need. I listen to you, baby. I know the things you're going through. I try to understand. That's why I'm still with you, baby. See, every day we're living is one thing unsure. That's why I need you, baby. Pleading, baby. Please let her love and door. I try so very hard to keep our love alive. Come on, y'all. We need a break. I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm doing this. Now, we for those who want to come in and talk, ain't nothing wrong with that. But there's a reason why I'm doing this. I got as a download, and it was confirmed that the creator want us to take some time to have fun and do things we would do if we was on vacation. I got a download that we need a vacation. That's what I got. The divine ones need a vacation, whether it's a staycation. Staycation is supposed to be the things you would do if you was on vacation. Okay, I know not everybody can afford a vacation like the Matrix vacation, but we can always live our days like it is the vacation. Now this is what I find that always makes me feel I'm a little bit on vacation. Buying something for myself only, unapologetic. Not thinking about anybody else. Not thinking about if somebody needs something or if I gotta buy something for a family member. Literally just a moment to be selfish. Because vacations can be very selfish. Okay? Very very into yourself and your own needs. Hi everybody. Yeah, we have to let me tell you, them little simple vacations add up. Okay? Like for example, we spend 3 hours a day when we're off of work and it's like this is vacation time. And we have that list. I think we all need to create a vacation do list. And that list need to be on our phone on the screensaver. Screensaver. You know what I did yesterday, y'all? I put something on my screensaver that was on Pinterest. And on my screensaver is all the things I would do on vacation. I put it on my phone. It would be meditate, relax, read, all the things I would do. And it's like, cause see, when you on vacation, you're getting all the hormones that you need. See, you're making sure you're not short on any of the hormones, like serotonin, especially if you're a middle-aged woman. You really need serotonin when you're over. I say when you're over 35, you need serotonin as a woman. You can be starved. Some people will get cats to get quick serotonin because they can sense when you need serotonin. Cats can sense when you need serotonin. This is why a lot of women become the cat lady. And people need to stop making fun of women who got a bunch of cats. They need that serotonin. Serotonin reminds you that you still have worth and value and that you still deserve attention and affection and things like that. But when you go on vacation, you are doing things to get serotonin. You're not rushing to just give serotonin. You're like, I need serotonin too. And you're making it a priority. Hi, everybody. Exactly. I think it takes 3 hours nowadays to manage your cortisol. I think a little 15 meditation a day ain't enough no more. I really think I really think those last 3 hours of your day, when you get off work, I think it needs to be a vacation, not just. And I know people say, but I have things to do. If you're living as a stoic, you should have more free time. That's just the truth. If 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 you don't have things that require you to take too much up your attention, then you should actually have the free time. Okay? Making meals, big potluck pot meals that our grandmothers made. Back in the old days, they were making meals like that, and that saved them time with cooking every day. They got their clothes out the night before, right before bed, and they pretty much knew what they were going to wear all week long. I had a friend that was always on time for everything. She was always it didn't matter if she was a large woman, but she was the one of the cleanest, largest women I ever met. Okay, she always looked so good, and I used to be like, how is she doing this? Okay, but I noticed that you can only reach her when she was ready. I noticed that when she would get off of work after working for KFC, she was my best friend, so I got to see what she would do. Okay, and I noticed that she always had her clothes out pre planned for the week. You can literally go to her wardrobe and see all the clothes hanging up for the entire week. And she had the same style. She never ever changed her style. She wore all she wore was blazers and knee length skirts. Okay, she never wore jeans. She never wore jeans. And in its winter, she wore sweatsuits the whole winter long when it got real cold. Sweatsuits and knee length skirts and blazers. If she got a little cold, she put on a blazer. But even through spring, it was always skirt. It was always knee length skirts and the same type of shoes by the same company. And she always wore her hair in the same style. It was always um, with her texture locked in. She just what she would do was wash her hair and just put the gel in, and she would just brush the gel through and literally go. And she might have put a little bit of accessories in, but that was it. And she it just seemed like she was always a real peaceful person. She was big because she was genetically big. Yeah, you can't be genetically big. I'm tired of people acting like can nobody be chosen to be big. If you have more fat cells in your body, then of course you're going to naturally crave fat, and you're going to naturally be big. The creator don't make no mistakes, okay? People need to stop thinking everybody's supposed to be skinny. If that was the case, all the animals would be skinny. We would not have no buffalo. So she was always a robust woman, you know. But I could remember though she was robust but real shapely. But I can just remember how she was so mindful of her time, and she had a certain maturity to her. But she always went out, even if her parents didn't allow her to go out because they was clingy. She would sneak out. She would never let. When she was 16 years old, she would never let anyone tell her she couldn't live her life, even though she was big compared to the standards back then. But she still always went out. She still always went out. She was calling me to go out more than I was calling her. And she was the weight that most women are today. Back in the 90s, which was considered to be obese then. And she would call me every Thursday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's go. What you doing? You want to go out? I say, yeah. She didn't get her car to flash it. She was always riding people around. Never complaining. Even though she was always the biggest one in the group. Never complained. And I think about that today. And I think about how even though she was someone that actually had parents um that had jobs or whatever, and she had got her job before everybody else did. But she always shared her money with everybody. Always shared her money, um, in her car or whatever. But I miss those times when people would be like, "I got you." If you like, "Oh, I'm $5 short and getting in the club," people would be like, "I got you." Like nowadays, people would leave you standing out the side of the club. But back in them days, people would be like, anybody who got $2? I got $2. Anybody got else $2? Okay, that's $4. We made this work. We all could go out now. It's just sad. It's sad that we're not in our energy anymore. If we saw something about each other that we can make sexy or be more prettier, we said it. We literally said it. We would be like, you know what, that red shade will look better on you. But nowadays it's like, nope, your competition. Sad. We didn't give a damn about competition in our groups. We didn't give a damn about that. I can remember going out and um sometimes, I didn't get a number. I love saying that because don't nobody say that no more. Get a number. Sometimes I didn't get a number. But what would happen is my friend would say, would ask the guy, do he have a friend or do he have a brother? My girlfriend is pretty. She ain't ugly. So you got a friend we can call? They at the crib, and always, like almost always, the guy would be like, yeah, I got a friend. We could let me see if he home. Or I know this dude that I hang out with all the time. We can go to his crib and chill. It's like nowadays it's like it's like I got mine. Get yours on your own, or that's the way it is now. Hi everybody. Exactly. It was wild. It was wild how it seemed like every week we went on vacation in the 90s. I think that's why nobody complained about the 9 to 5 job. We didn't wait for our 2 week vacation. We were like, no, I need every week at some point to feel like we on vacation. You know, when you're going on vacation, you shop, right? You shop. When you're going on vacation, you look for entertainment outside of your home. When you go on vacation, you want to look extra good. When you go on vacation, you are determined to have fun. You're like, I refuse to not have no fun when you go on vacation. I saw a quote this past week that literally said, happiness is a feeling. That's just wild. And being happy of what you get. Happiness is being liking what you get, and happiness is a feeling. And I say, find a way to like what you got. There is a way. You don't like your 4C here. Believe me, there's a way to like it. Okay? There are some styles out here that you can wear. There is some things you can put in your hair so you can like it. I saw a quote that says success is liking what you want, and happiness is liking what you, and I'm sorry, I said happiness is liking what you got. Okay? Success is liking what you can get. I'm gonna post a quote, but I feel like that quote is, I think everybody need to hear that. Like back in the 90s, we were finding ways to like what we had. Okay? We would improvise to like what we had. And it was just wild. I had a girl that had locks in her hair. Her name was Amisha. Okay? I had a girlfriend that had locks in her hair. She was Jamaican and her name was Amisha. And she liked what she had. Okay? You know what I noticed about the 90s too? We never felt like we was running out of time. I guess that's what happiness is. Happiness makes you feel like. Happiness makes you feel like there is no time. You're not aging. You have all the time in the world to do what makes you happy. I want to know how can we all get back to that? Cuz I see people complaining about everything being too long and hard. It's like this need for instant gratification. This need for instant gratification is making people um not making people just not have gratitude for the fact that they could do what they could do. Like I see big girls on YouTube always talking about this fast hairdo, this is fast or this is that. You know what? Let me tell you something. Nothing is fast. Nothing is too slow when I love it. And that is that is so true. Like when I love a certain hairstyle, I don't care how long it take. I love it. It could take 5 hours. I love it. I love the results. The reason why some people complain is because they know they don't really like the results of what they're getting done. So that's why they complain about the length of time it took. They didn't love their man that much. That's why they complained. That's why they complained about it taking a year for him to propose. They wasn't just enjoying the moments, living in the moments, the good moments. Too busy addicted with always thinking ahead. This time period is obsessed with future thinking. I told my family member the other day, I don't give a damn about future thinking anymore. They was trying to future talk me. I said, I don't give a damn about that. They looked at me like I was negative. I said, no, there's no guaranteed. Everybody got free will or whatever. So all I can do is think about the opportunity that I managed to get right now, that I got right at this moment, that I got today. Okay, the next one that I can get to, that or I got to. That's all. Because soon as I future think and things don't turn out the way I thought they would, then I'm gonna be bitter and upset and disappointed. I was like thinking about going on my walk while I was taking care of myself. I said I ain't doing that no more. Cause as soon as I end up going to the walk late, I'ma feel like I'm falling behind. I don't give a damn about the next hour. I can only focus on this. Our brains was not meant to handle that much thinking um thinking activity. Future thinking, past thinking, present, the last hour thinking, no. Our brains literally also was supposed to have some screensaver standby type of energy where it's not wondering in so much uh, um about life. Our brains need to to sometimes be put in the corner and said told to shut up. And that's the beauty of music. Music get puts your brain down. Okay, it say sit down and just accept this feeling. Stop running your mouth. They say idle minds is the devil's playground. Okay, I saw something yesterday that said truth telling could be escapism. I said, "Woo, child," and I said, "People are obsessed with truth telling because their mind is so idle and wondering. Okay, a lot. When your mind tends to land on some sort of suffering that you had, and then you go into truth telling, and then you don't know that you might be into escapism. You might be trying to avoid living in the moment, living at the present. I saw another quote that said, um, "Oh, I'm gonna post it. If you have anxiety, you're living in the future." It was saying something like that. And I remember when I kept trying to live in the future beyond this time period, I was like getting high anxiety. But for me, because I was a young adult in the 90s. The 90s is my future because it's what made me happy. I feel like the only future that literally exists is the one that make me happy. The others, the others don't matter. Which means the past could be my future, and the past could be my present. Your present will shape into your future. It manifests as the future. So, but if I choose the correct past that made me happy, then the present will make me happy, and so will the future. So I know it sounds so deep, but most of what makes us happy for a lot of people today, it's not even in this time period. It's not in this time period. I have a friend, okay, because your time period helps shapes your personality. Your personality helps determine what will make you happy. Now, I have a friend who's literally in their 60s, and they're still listening to music and doing things that they did in the 60s and 70s. They're still on that, and they're happy. And they're always fit. They're ripped and they're in shape. They never left this. They never. This person has never left the 70s. I'm telling you, no, y'all. They still play music from the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s of when they was in their, when they was up to like up to middle age. They play all that music and do all the things they did then. They don't even care. Like when their car go down, they be like, I get on the bus with my bike. And it's so wild is that there's people that think that this person's insane. I've actually had people of today say, why you talk to that person sometime? They ain't right. And I'd be like, nah, you ain't right. just cause they don't want to be just cause they don't want to be in your time period energy, it doesn't mean that they're insane. Like he still wears old school alligator shoes. He's everything, okay? Like he glorifies cooking for people, home cooking, everything from scratch. He glorifies that. He said he don't even eat takeout unless he has no choice. So it's just wow, that he grew up during a time period where there was no McDonald's nearby or anything, and he's still in that energy. But people love to say that he's insane. They try to make fun of him. The young guys are in their 20s and early 30s. They be making fun of him, and I just ignore them and be like, no, you the one that need to keep trend time hopping. He's doing what worked for him. He's staying in his lane. He wants to die with the time period energy that he chooses to have. And I realize we have to be unapologetic about that. It doesn't matter what other people got to say in this time period. It doesn't matter what their opinions are. Seriously, if you want to, because I decided to take jeans out of my wardrobe unless it is really cold winter days. I decided to take all tight shorts out of my wardrobe, all tight jeans, unless it's a really cold winter day. It's gonna look really funny with my neighbors seeing me get in the car in thick pantyhose, in a skirt and some rider boots. It's gonna look really funny at my age because everybody glorifies wearing jeans. It's gonna look funny that I'm wearing the jeans that they wear in Asia. That I'm switching to the cold winter days, the jeans that are actually bell bottoms, that do not cling to my legs, that do not show off the whole shape of my butt. I remember when those jeans started coming about. It was like it was like it was like when I was 18. I noticed all the jeans were getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and I started to feel like this is not me. I was raised on a time when people wore straight leg pants and bell bottoms. Like, what is this? I'm a 70s baby. Like, what is this stuff? That's what I was thinking. But I'm not wearing I'm not wearing that stuff no more. The really tight jeans. I think it's like people don't take you seriously. Certain things. But if other people want to be in that energy, that's fine. I'm not knocking it if they want to do that. But I want respect out in these streets. And respect, having class and some preservation to yourself and privacy, it gets respect. I don't care if I'm not getting the compliments that those women are getting. It's really hard for somebody to disrespect you when you have a class. And so that's what I'm about. I know that even in the 90s, if you were a woman who dressed as sporty a lot, you would go through stuff. Like you would notice that people try you, get smart, want to fight you, test you, and all type of stuff. You know, dudes would get aggressive with you and all that. It's like I don't want that energy. It's still out here. Still out here. I decided to also work out outside in the woods somewhere because going to the gym, I personally think the gym, we're not talking about the dance classes, the gym is masculine. It's too masculine for me. It's I know they glorify women lifting weights, but I find it masculine. I need to be in yoga classes. I need to be in dance classes and things that keeps me cool as a woman. I find that when I work out at the gym, I start to get an aggressive energy sometimes, and I can't explain why. So I decided to tap out of the gym. Today, I decided also with here, I don't know if some of y'all into jail, but I've realized that the jail that they make today is not the original jail. Like for here, the jail we used in the 90s, it was alcohol. A lot of it was alcohol free. People say our hair was thriving, but of course it was when we was getting hot oil treatments every week or every other week, protein treatments at the salon. When you would go to the salon in the 90s, everything was included. Okay? Protein treatments, hot oil treatments, and you could get all that for like $20 plus the finger waves. And I remember at some point, I remember when I got almost 20, I noticed the thing started being tacked on as an additional fee. And I had to start doing protein treatments at my house. I remember by the time I got almost 30, it cost the amount of two heads just to get my hair washed and braided without weave. I noticed it was going into um, money hungry generation where society started to not respect that we have needs, that the government started to be real disrespectful to the fact that we have needs. Somebody said he sounds pretty cool. Exactly. My friend Antonella, people had the nerve to say that he was crazy. Yeah, they was making fun of him. But I said to myself, he looked better than every dude in here though. And the wild thing about it, Antonella, he was real humble. He was real humble. He never said, "Man, I look better than everybody in here." He didn't say that. He would just be like, you know, they talk to me. These other dudes talk to me like crap, and instead of talking to me like crap, they need to be working on their diet, and they tearing me down. I say, well, I said they're making fun of you because they think long as they keeping up with the trends of today, it don't matter that they're not taking care of themselves, and they can make fun of you. He couldn't even do his business without them trying to treat him like He was crazy. They would give when I was at karaoke and he would speak to me. He would be down there doing his little business, and I'm in karaoke, and then I would pay him to do my car because that's what he did. He detailed cars and stuff, and I would pay him to detail my car. The dudes would be looking at me like, why you getting business from him?" Like it would be you could just see the like stank looks they was giving about him. Back in them days in the 60s and 70s, men was out there washing cars with sponging buckets, detailing the cars right out on the street, with wife beaters on. Nowadays, when a man does that out in these streets, he's considered a bum by other men. It's sad. It's like you gotta have a building or online business, or what you doing is bum stuff. He said they kept shortchanging him when he would detail their cars and all that. I said, I told him the reason why they did that is because you old fashioned. So they think that you're not going to be quick to fight like them. They think that you thirsty. That's what they think. I said, but I looked at him. I said, you'll probably slam all of them on their back because they're all weak compared to how fit you are. This was literally a 60-year-old man, straight up ripped like Hercules, almost Hercules built, okay? And only lifted weights like one day a week, but was super fit because he was detailing cars and things like that and riding his bike like 2 hours a day. Back in the 60s and 70s, in the old days, people rode their bikes everywhere. So he was riding his bike up hills everywhere. So he was in far better shape than all them dudes. But they thought he was thirsty because he was older. And I used to be like, but you're walking away with $3,000 in your pocket a day at times. Plenty of money. Because one time he said, they make fun of me out here, but look at all this money I got. He showed me. I said, damn, you made all that money in one day? He said, yep. But they sitting out there saying, old timer, making fun of him because he wearing, every time he goes out, he likes to wear suit pants and stuff. Whenever I see him at karaoke, he always has on suit pants or whatever. But they like to make fun of him because he's in crocodile shoes and stuff like that. It's just wild though. While he's sitting up there with a head full of hair, silver gray, his hair is silver, and they sitting up there bald and really out of shape and younger than him. I said what they need to be doing is maybe doing what he doing. He making more money out in these streets a day than they're making a week. He got lines of cars lined up for hours, washing, detailing, all of that, and they sitting up there telling him, calling him granddad and stuff, being disrespectful. Yep. He know what he did? He stayed where the money's at. He did not think that the grass was greener. He knows that where he is at is a main drag and a lot of cars come through or whatever. And he knows that he can sit right there and do cars all day. And he knows there's a barbershop where dudes are coming in and out. He knows there are multiple bars there where people are coming in and out. He knows that there's even like office buildings with wealthy people coming out. So he knows he's right there where all the money is flowing. While they're making fun of him, like, why is somebody granddad out here doing cars all day in the blazing heat? He's making more money. He's making more money than they're making in a week. He's making that in a day. He's riding around in antique Cadillacs. And they make fun of him like, oh, you got that antique old fashioned Cadillac. They make fun of him with that too. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, okay, they sitting up there still paying off car notes. See, I found out that back in the day, the reason why we seemed to keep money is because we wasn't always thinking the grass was greener. There wasn't a whole lot of like moving around all the time. There wasn't a whole lot of changing styles and looks. That really didn't go on. Like we might have the same. Sometimes we might have our hair braided for and it kept braided for like 2 years, and we just wore braids only. It wasn't a lot of changing. When you come in a generation now that's so thirsty for attention with these TikToks and stuff, people just keep changing, and that gets expensive. It just gets expensive. So now, what he does with his money, he wears the same clothes. He got the same shoes that he took really good care of from years ago. And he takes his money and he travels. He travels. So but he takes his bike with him and stuff so that he can ride his bike wherever he's at. But it's like if you say that you got that lifestyle today, people say you're corny. Like I wanna go and visit as many hiking trails as I can in Pennsylvania. That's one of my missions. That's on my bucket list. I'm a um I'm a document when I go on these walking trails, and I want to I'm gonna do a scrapbook of all the different walking trails I've been on, and when I travel, I'm gonna make sure I do a couple walking trails, hiking trails where I'm at. But when I wanted to do that when I was in Virginia, I was hiking from one side of the beach to the other. The people I was with was like, you don't even know Virginia. Why are you doing that? That's not safe. And I'm like, they were saying that I was foolish hiking from one side of the beach by myself. But it's like they're not into hiking. Like if you go on the hiking trails now, there's not that many people hiking. It's like it's become like obsolete because we have hiking trails around here, and you might see like one or two people. I remember back in the day, it was packed. Back in back in like 1997, when me and my family would go hike, you had to like leave earlier. You wouldn't even get a fishing spot. You had to start your hike an hour early, or if you wanted to sit down and barbecue or fish, you didn't have a good spot. Nowadays, it's not pleasure enough to sit in silence while fishing with a little radio on. People can't take it. There's a guy who wrote a famous book, a popular book, and he says people are addicted to being an entrepreneur of themselves, that they can't stand the silence. And hiking requires you to enjoy some of the silence sometime. To not even check your phone. The part of hiking is to go off the grid, to to not be so tapped in to society. But people are afraid of that. They think they're missing out on something. Now, one thing I don't do anymore unless it's scheduled, I don't hike hills. I got a real interesting download about that. Hills is supposed to be something um there's like a special time for that. But I notice when people are hiking around here, they're hiking hills every single day. Hiking hills can block your abundance. I don't know why nobody knows this. I'm sometimes y'all be wondering how I know the things I know. It's just it's almost like my brain is just sitting up in the stars, and they just got my. It's like God just got my brain up there, just dumping stuff in my brain. But walking hills can block abundance. It's a whole course I want to do on that. People would think I'm crazy. What I tell them, but I literally will tell people do this experiment, and you'll see that it does. When I used to walk hills all the time, I always got the same money. Hi, everybody. It's something to do with the chakras. Okay. Why you think our ancestors, black ancestors, were so poor? Their whole life was walking a hill. Deep, huh? Their whole life was a mule every single day. When you walk hills all the time, you in mule energy. You're putting tension on yourself. And that means you're trying to be somebody else. That means you don't have no gratitude for who you are. And so if how you are is abundant, you just pushed it away by walking a hill. I say, don't nobody see goats. Goats is abundant, but don't nobody see goats walking enormous hills. uh, if you've been if you've been in this world for 20 some years, a grown up for 20 years already, you walked enough hills. That needs to be scheduled time. Because it's going to come out as the winner with your chakras. I'm gonna put some more music on, y'all. Well, how come I never heard this song "Work Me Slow"? I'm gonna put on "Softest Place on Earth." I can't play this so long. YouTube will I forgot that YouTube will silence the video. They're getting real strict on playing whole songs that are copyrighted. I'm gonna put on "Softest Place on Earth" karaoke. It seems like they don't block the karaoke ones really, but they block if you play the original lyric songs. Oh, look, y'all, nobody's supposed to be here. Nobody's supposed to be here, y'all. I ain't heard this song in years. Deborah Cox. I think it's by Deborah. Yep, it's by Deborah Cox. Her voice is so high. Amazing, she's a soprano. Nobody's supposed to be here. I've tried that love thing for the last time. My heart says no, no. Nobody's supposed to be here. But you came along and changed my mind. I spent all my life on a search to find the love will stand for eternity. The heaven sent to fulfill my need. But when I turned around, again love has knocked me down. My heart got broken, no, it hurt so bad. I'm sad to say, love ends again. Unlock the key to take some time and take care of me. But when I turn around and you're standing here, how did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. I've tried that love thing for the last time. My heart says no, no. Nobody's supposed to be here. But you came along and changed my mind. That is such a low note on that last line, y'all. I would have to be like in full voice belt to actually hit the sing in the key she's in. I hate the fact that the songs are always in the original key. It's like I can never find it in the keys that I like to sing in, like the F key. C, D, F, G, C, D, F, F, like the F key. F, that's a nice key for me, but I don't think this is in that key. C, D, F. Nobody's supposed to be here. I'll try that love thing for the last time. My heart says no, no. Nobody's supposed to be here. But you came along and changed my mind. That lady has a strong